The next game we're going to review is on the PS3. It's also on the Wii, PC, everything pretty much. What game am I talking about? It's not really a game, it's more a series. We will be focusing on the main series of this franchise, revolving around a blue hedgehog that runs really fast, who is of course Sonic the Hedgehog.
In terms of what the first Sonic game does right, I think it does this concept pretty well. It's not the ideal way of how this gameplay should be done, but that does not ruin Sonic 1 from being a fun platforming game. And really, that's all the game is, a semi-fast platform game that offers decent exploration that'll reward you with hidden bring boxes and other stuff. I just think the rest of the levels just sort of blend in together for me, and they almost lack variety. Each of them have the same patterns, the same damn straightforward linear structure.
If there's one thing I could say about these levels that I'm sure both sides of the fanbase can agree with, it's that these levels are huge. It's understandable that bigger doesn't always equal better for people. Not to mention, these levels are not designed for people who like to hold right to win. One of the many unique things about Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which I'll just call Sonic 3K for short, is that each level is designed to fit each character. Sonic has a good portion of the level to run around in and explore. Tails has his own little areas where he could fly to find extra pathways and item boxes to come across, and Knuckles actually has his own little sections that are exclusive to him. This game is clearly trying to be a 3D Sonic game, so I think the homing attack should have been part of Sonic's natural moveset, not a power-up. It definitely would have made the gameplay much easier because I cannot jump on an enemy without getting hit.
You can go in any direction you can think of, but some of these tracks like Rico Ruin or Radical Factory seem badly unfinished. Especially Radical Factory, where you can see where the graphics on the walls end. I do recommend playing Sonic Adventure with the original Dreamcast graphics and textures to get the original feel, so I'd say wait until D Shady is done working on his Dreamcast mod. But if you really want to take the risk and get a Dreamcast and a copy of Sonic Adventure Online, be my guest. They're quick, and it's just another positive factor as to why I have way more fun in Adventure 2's treasure hunting levels than I did in Adventure 1. Hell, I'd even go as far to say I have a bit more fun in these levels than I do this game's speed levels. Yep, I just said that. But as a whole, Sonic Heroes is a solid and fun game. The character swapping is an interesting idea, the levels look fantastic, the soundtrack is brilliant, the cutscenes and voice acting are pretty strong all around, except for Tails, and the replay value is really great.
I sound like a broken record, but this game is so fucking stupid. It has no idea what it's trying to do, it takes itself too damn seriously, the soundtrack is forgettable, the art style is sleep-inducing, the voice acting is mediocre, and most importantly, this game is not special in the slightest. It's just not fun to play.
Wow, this game was really something else. It just didn't need to exist. It had no purpose to exist. This game didn't mortally wound the series. No, it fucking killed it. The Sonic franchise was fucking dead at this point. There was no reason to go on anymore. Sonic Unleashed is a game I've had huge respect for in the past, and now I have huge appreciation for it. I'm glad I gave this game the second chance it deserved, because it seriously would have been a disservice to me if I wrote this game off as a mixed bag like most reviewers made it out to be. To be honest, on the very, very rare occasions I go back to play Sonic Colors, I'm usually keeping the Supersonic mode activated, because nothing else in this game intrigues me. The levels are insanely dull and haven't aged well at all. Not even Supersonic can redeem them. Despite that, Sonic Generations is a pretty shallow experience as a whole. Who the hell do I even recommend this game to? If I recommend it to all the casual non-Sonic gamers, they're not gonna get all the references in the levels. And if I recommend it to Sonic fans, they're just gonna bitch about and argue about everything in this game. Kind of like what I'm doing. Wait, I still have one more Sonic game to look at? Motherfucker! Oh my god, we're almost done. I'm honestly kind of amazed that I've made it this far with Cooper's perspective. I really thought I wouldn't be able to finish reviewing every Sonic game, or at least every main series Sonic title. Well, every title developed by Sonic Team. I'm also kinda touched that these videos are starting to get more traffic put into them, and also how a large number of people are actually leaving comments on these videos. Some good, and some bad. Really bad. Still, I guess I just wanted to thank everyone again for watching my garbage videos, and just know that I have no intent to stop making them. I didn't think I'd be able to do this, even after a whole lot of personal and private stuff happened to me since I decided to start doing these reviews full time, but I'm glad with the results I've gotten so far, and I hope to keep it growing. then maybe this can make my private and near non-existent social life become less stressful.
And with all that said, let's finally end this depressing marathon with my review of the latest main series Sonic title, Sonic Lost World.
A couple years back, just before the Sonic brand got embarrassed again, the franchise seemed like it was going pretty well for most people. I mean, Generations and Colors were heavily praised titles, so it almost seemed like Sonic could do almost no wrong again. The next main Sonic title didn't actually start development after Generations came out, but before it. Apparently, Sonic Team has two separate A and B teams. The A team was working on Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed, meanwhile the B team was working on Sonic Colors, and the game that would come out after Generations. It's pretty confusing, but while Sonic Team A was working on Sonic Generations, Sonic Team B started working on another Sonic game immediately after the release of Sonic Colors. The goal for this game, as Takashi Iizuka said, was to deliver a new experience, and that the game's level design would have twisted tube-like levels inspired by Jack and the Beanstalk.
Okay then.
Takashi also wanted this game to play more like a traditional platformer, but at the same time he wanted the team to expand upon and make the worlds in this new game be way more expansive than what Sonic Colors offered. Plus. On the downside, however, during the game's development, Sega decided to sign a deal with Nintendo to have the next three Sonic-related titles be released on their platforms. The three games included another Mario and Sonic sports game, Sonic Blue, oh god, and the third game would be the next mainstream Sonic title. So yes, this had to end up being yet another Nintendo-exclusive Sonic game. But this time, it wouldn't be on the Wii and DS, but on the Wii U and 3DS. Yeah, the Wii U. Nintendo's most successful gaming console ever made. Anyways, we got an announcement for the next Sonic game in May 2013. It was revealed that the game's title would be Sonic Lost World. We also got a screenshot that showed what the game's setting would look like. Later on, we also got a trailer for the new game, which, to put it bluntly, got very mixed reception. I mean, people just couldn't figure out what to make of this game. All the Sonic haters said, "Wow, Mario Galaxy much? Way to stay original, Sonic." Then all the Sonic fans defended it by saying, "Nuh-uh, it's using ideas from Sonic Extreme. You know, that Sega Saturn game that no one has played or heard of because it got cancelled?" Also, it was going to be on the Sega Saturn, like, no offense, but who would have played it anyways? Meanwhile, the Wii U-less me was over here as the innocent Sonic fan just looking at all the released gameplay footage, and I simply thought of the game, it looks alright. Like I said, most people just couldn't figure out what to make of this game until it came out. Kind of. Sonic Lost World wasn't so much hit with negative reception, but more just confused. Most reviewers gave it either an average or just mixed score. People couldn't figure this game out. It was so bizarre to witness. It was undoubtedly one of the most polarizing Sonic games ever released. I didn't have a Wii U or 3DS at the time, so all I could really do was just sit back and leave the fanbase to their own devices. For a whole 2 years, I just looked at Sonic Lost World as this weird experiment that most people really couldn't grow attached to. It also didn't help that the game barely managed to sell over 700,000 copies worldwide. The game remained a Nintendo exclusive until late 2015 when Sega announced that Sonic Lost World would be coming to Steam in November. Of course, that ended up being the first ever time I got to play Sonic Lost World. I know, after 2 damn years. And what do I think of the game?
I enjoyed it. Well, I mean, the game does have flaws and all, plus the story's a piece of crap too, but I liked it.
Even with my computer not being up to snuffs, I still really enjoyed Sonic Lost World.
However, I like to record my own footage, so for last Christmas I got a Wii U, and about a month after getting it, I got a copy of Sonic Lost World. So now I can finally properly review this game. So, let's finally end my Sonic the Hedgehog marathon, which was supposed to end in January, with my review of Sonic Lost World. You ready to get this over with, Tailstall? Tailstall?
Dear Cooper, For the past 20 years, I've lived my life thinking I was the most horrific being ever conceived by man, but now I have realized I'm an overrated piece of cotton. As a result, I've developed a heavy drinking problem that you noticed but you didn't particularly care for. This ended up making me feel unneeded around you, so I decided to go for a drive, which ended up in a horrific car crash. I ditched the situation, having ended the life of a husband and wife. The whole incident tore me up. I've tried to bury it behind me, but it's been eating me away these past few months. As a result, I checked myself into the nearest mental institution, and am currently seeking help for my alcoholism and recently diagnosed mental depression. So if you are ever, for whatever reason, worried about my whereabouts, just know that I am currently residing in the nearest rehabilitation center, just a few blocks from where you live. If you are ever interested in contacting me, just head over there and ask for my mailbox. Hopefully I'll be out of there in a month or two. I wish you well. Tailstall.
What a pussy.
Now, let's get this over with. Let's start with this game's plot. And guess what? Just like Colors and Generations, this game's plot was once again written by Ken Pontac and Horrid Draft. So does that mean this game's plot's gonna be predictable, not funny, and nothing like a Sonic game? Guess what? The game's plot is predictable, not funny, and nothing like a Sonic game. Well, if I could give Pontac and Graff some credit, the writing for all these games have been consistently underwhelming. So the plot of this game starts with Sonic and Tails chasing after Eggman, who's holding animals captive in the traditional animal capsule. Oh god, it's Roger Craig Smith again!
Alright, I can land this, but it's gonna be bumpy.
Sorry about that, Tails. I swallowed a whole pack of gum and now I'm constipated.
Screw this. Okay, so while trying to save the animals, Eggman shoots the tornado plane, which causes Sonic and Tails to go off course, which makes them stumble across a large area in the sky, to which Tails recognizes as the Lost Hex. What's the Lost Hex? Where did it come from? How does Tails know about its existence? Yep, we get no info on what this place is. It just exists. By the way, this was the first Sonic game where Pontac and Graff were given full permission to come up with their own premise. Glad to see they're taking advantage of it. Hacks. Anyway, Sonic and Tails land on the Lost Hex, which is also where Eggman is working on new experiments, while also forming a partnership with a group of characters called the Deadly Six. Who are the Deadly Six? Where did they come from? How did Eggman meet them? How can Eggman take control of them by using this conch shell? Again, I'm so glad to see Pontac and Graff taking advantage of this original premise of theirs. Okay, we do at least get to know their names. Zovac, Zaz, Xena, Zik, Zomom, and Zor. They're part of a race called the Zeti, and are also some of the most useless characters ever put in a Sonic game. Every scene they're in just bores me to death, and nothing they say is ever worthwhile. Nope, not even Zor. He's pretty bland for me, and I never found his writing clever or funny. He's a tool. A fucking tool. Actually, can I just say, why is everyone calling the conch shell that Eggman uses to control them the magic conch? Like, I get it, SpongeBob references for the win, but I think fans got a little confused on what they're trying to reference. When I first saw the shell Eggman was using, I did get SpongeBob parallels, but once the magic conch shell came to my head, I instantly realized, no wait, it's not the magic conch shell, it's the conch signal. You know, that conch signal that SpongeBob comically blew into? I'm pretty sure fans meant to make references to the conch signal, but just chose the magic conch even though SpongeBob and Patrick never fucking blew into it. It had a goddamn string on it that you pulled, it said something Mimi, then they went. So it's the conch signal, not the magic conch. The conch shell that Eggman uses behaves nothing like the magic conch shell, you stupid man-child Neanderthals. Get your references right. Sorry, this game's plot was so predictable and boring that I found it more interesting to point out the flaws in that misguided SpongeBob reference almost every fan kept making about the conch shells. Speaking of the conch shell, Eggman uses it to keep the Deadly Six in control, but Sonic knocks it out of his hands because he's an unlikable pun-spouting dickhead that Pontac and Graff love writing him as. As a result, the Deadly Six turn against Eggman and start attacking. You know, I'm pretty sure Sonic can take care of each of these badniks just fine, especially given his new homing attack. So Sonic and Tails team up with Eggman because
That's never happened before in a Sonic game. And in the midst of all this, Tails gets kidnapped, Eggman dies, but Sonic overcomes the Zeddy and straight up murders them. No joke, in the game we go through a few boss rushes where we defeat each member of the Deadly Six, and they just evaporate into mid-air after being defeated, and they don't appear in any other cutscene afterwards. So yeah, Sonic murdered them! Our hero. However, it turns out, get ready for this shocker, Eggman didn't die, and he was in fact working on a secret project and had the Zeddy distract Sonic long enough so that he could finish working on it, which is a Eggman-shaped robot with a wavy chemical cape that Sonic beats pretty easily. The day is saved, thus Sonic and Tails return home, with Sonic deciding to fall asleep. Strange, that's exactly how I feel after watching this game's cutscenes. So that was Sonic Lost World's plot, which was not particularly engaging, for me at least. Much like Colors and Generations, the characters' personalities still feel really off, almost as if this game was written by these two hack writers. I will say that this is the best script that Pontac and Graf have written for this series, but that's really not saying much. Are there any cutscenes that I like? Yeah, a few. There's not really enough here to save this game's plot though. The writing is still super juvenile like it was in Colors, so whenever it tries to add dramatic moments it feels really out of place. It's like I'm watching cutscenes to a completely different video game, but Sonic and Tails just so happen to be the main characters. I didn't find anything about the story to be memorable or funny. When the dialogue isn't out of place, it's usually not funny or really forced. The worst cases being the Deadly Six, who are all boring. None of them have interesting personalities. There's almost no point for these characters to exist. Why does Sega keep inventing more characters in these games when we already have a large number of characters to choose from? Did Pontac and Graf think that making new characters with bland personalities would have gotten better reception than using pre-established characters and fucking up their personalities? Okay, apparently the Deadly Six were characters given to the writers by Sega, but still, they didn't even try to make them seem interesting. They have some of the most forced and worst dialogue ever.
Don't be so whiny, man. That's my deal.
Oh, I get it, he's the moody one.
The last time we met, you ruined my nail art. Now I have to reapply a whole new coat.
Oh, I get it, it's because she's a girl.
That's what I like about you, Zaz. Always ready for a fight.
Wow, that expositional dialogue felt so natural and so not forced at all. Hey, wow, look at Zomom eating all the time. He's fat, you get it? He's fat! Don't even get me started on how Pontac and Graf mess up Sonic, Tails, and Eggman once again. The voice acting really doesn't help either. It seems more like Pontac and Graf weren't so much modeling their personalities based off previous games, but more basing them on how the voice actors sound, while also building off the flenderization they made to the characters in Colors. Sonic is still an unlikable, pun-spouting asshole. Every time he's on screen, I just want to kill myself.
Whew, that was cool. Pun entirely intended.
Yeah, not funny.
The only thing that's gonna get conquered is your face, Eggman!
Stop.
I'm supposed to be the fastest, but I was too slow to save my buddy.
I want to fucking kill you.
They're gonna turn Tails into a robot! That's horrible!
What also doesn't help is that this is probably Roger Craig Smith's worst performance yet. Every line of dialogue sounds so painful and forced from him. Around the time this game came out, this was just when I stopped liking Roger as Sonic. Every new game he was in, his performance just kept getting worse and worse. Another thing that kinda killed his Sonic voice for me was Stephen Page's impersonation of Roger in those Sonic Zombie videos. He captures Roger's dialect so perfectly, it's hilarious. Another thing that sorta killed Roger's Sonic voice for me was when Steven explained his inspiration for why Zombie Sonic kept referencing Pizza Hut all the time, which led me to this Pizza Hut commercial narrated by a very familiar voice.
Introducing Pizza Hut's new Ultimate Stuffed Crust Pizza. With tons of toppings and cheese baked right into the crust, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. Only $12.99 and only at your Pizza Hut.
Yeah, try to unhear that. Now every time I hear Sonic speak with Roger's voice, I just expect him to blurt out,
For just $12.99, choose from 2 ultimate recipes for your crust. Meaty, packed with pepperoni, Italian sausage, and bacon, or classic pepperoni.
whoopsie daisy. Alright, I think one of the reasons why I still prefer Ryan Drummond as Sonic is because Roger and Jason fans, you stop typing your hate comment and just hear me out for a bit. Every time I hear Roger Craig Smith or Jason Griffith as Sonic, it always seems like they're forcing out their Sonic voice. Ryan, on the other hand, just came off sounding so natural. What was amazing about Ryan was that he could just switch to doing Sonic's voice so easily. It seems like a struggle for Roger and Jason, and it seriously showed for both of them. I've long accepted that Ryan's probably never going to voice Sonic ever again, and it's actively made me kinda depressed. Especially since there's no reason for him to not be Sonic anymore. He didn't choose to quit, Sega fired him in favor of using cheaper voice actors. Jason was a cheap imitation and Roger was a cheap option. To me, both of them were never good as Sonic. I don't care if Jason was kinda better in Unleashed, and I don't care if Roger wasn't that bad in Colors. Both of them suck as Sonic. It would be easy to blame the voice directors, but it's not a matter of whether or not their acting is good enough, it's just that these two were never right for the role to begin with. Both Roger and Jason brought nothing interesting to the table and just felt like a step back from Drummond. I don't hear Sonic at all from Roger or Jason, but for Ryan, I always heard Sonic. He's always been the best Sonic voice. Disregarding him because he lacked emotion, which is completely bullshit by the way, is about as distasteful as how Sega has been handling their voice actors all these years. I'm sorry, but Roger and Jason were never good as Sonic to me. Ryan's still the best there ever is and ever will be. I'm not stating this as a fact, it's just my own perspective, if you will. There, rant over. Now you can type your hate comments and call me a Drummond fanboy and that I'm blinded by nostalgia or some shit. On the opposite side, there's Kate Higgins doing a great job as Tails. She still proves to be the best Tails voice we ever got. I know, shocker, I like one of the recent voice actors. Though something tells me Kate's probably not going to be voicing Tails anymore after this game. Unfortunately, Tails' personality in this game just makes me want to punch him and the writers. He's once again this bland, scientific, smart guy, which is something that never existed in the previous games. I think Tails is smart, but more knows how to pilot a plane smart. Not the level of smart that this game shows him off to be. It's so irritating to see Tails written this way, even with Kate Higgins' excellent Tails voice.
I've built a TV out of paper clips and reprogrammed a supercomputer using dishwashing detergent and a toothpick. I've built a TV out of paper clips.
Yeah.
And reprogrammed a supercomputer using dishwashing detergent and a toothpick.
I know.
So look, fixing a propeller on a biplane? That's about as difficult as taking a nap.
I'm smart. I'm so smart. Did I mention I'm the smart one? Did I mention that this game has a lot of misplaced drama? Like, there's this one scene where it seems like Tails is just on his period or something. They're in Eggman's base and Eggman built this machine that's sucking all the life out of everything, and he needs Sonic and Tails to help him get to the machine so that he can shut it off so that the Zeddy won't use it to annihilate Mobius Earth. However, during this cutscene, Tails gets all offended for no reason.
Tails, we need Eggman to shut down his machine.
And you don't trust me to do it.
What?
No, you don't. You trust Eggman more.
Where is this coming from? Excuse us, Tails. How dare Sonic have more faith in Eggman in disabling his own machine? But like Sonic, I'm super smart, and you know I'm super smart. Why don't you think I can't disable Eggman's machine? Do you think I'm stupid or something? I hate you, Sonic. You don't trust me. I want to punch you in the fucking face, Tails. Eggman sucks, and the combined efforts of these hack writers and Mike Pollock have ruined this character for me. He's non-threatening and has become such an unfunny and uncharismatic character. It seems the days of Dean Bristol's high energy, along with specific emphasis on certain words for comedic effect, are completely gone. I'm not asking Mike Pollock to just leave this role that he's clearly found a lot of enjoyment in playing, but I wish the writers at least offered something dignifiable for this character. But no, they're more interested in making him this lighthearted, unengaging villain. Some fans defend Eggman in this game by saying he's got great lines of dialogue, and I'm just like, no he doesn't. Like, some point out that Eggman has some pretty dark lines of dialogue in this game, which is nice and all. I'll even admit that this is Mike Pollock's best performance as Eggman. But I think Bristol would have delivered these lines much better. Hell, that bloke from AOSTH that everyone seems to love probably would have delivered these lines with way more charisma. Strangely, he died in 2005 along with Dean Bristow. That's so suspicious. Mike Pollock is not a good Eggman. To me, he's on the same level of quality as Jason Griffith and the rest of the 4Kids actors. I always saw Mike Pollock as that cheap option for 4Kids. He's Dean Bristow Light, or Great Value Dean Bristow. He's a cheap replacement that Sega can conveniently use. And he's not going away anytime soon since he's such a huge fan favorite. It saddens me that this character I've come to admire since the adventure games has now become this generic bad guy. The only thing that really makes him Eggman is how he turns animals into robots. Nothing else. He's not funny, and he makes me depressed whenever I hear Mike Pollock's voice come out of him. I'm done describing why I dislike Mike Pollock as Eggman. All my remaining critiques for any future installment will just be simply a bridge to being, Eggman sounds like Mike Pollock. I'm done. If that wasn't enough, Amy and Knuckles are here. They're just here. They don't do anything. Cindy Robinson's voice is somehow worse in this game than Generations, and Travis Willingham is so dull as Knuckles. He would do Dan Green so proud.
Sonic!
No, it'll
Did
be
you get those animals back from Eggman?
Well, I would have wrapped this up sooner, but, what are you gonna do?
Why were both of you in this game again? Also, why do Knuckles and Sonic almost sound the same? I'm sorry if this review is becoming a real downer, but that kinda happens whenever I don't give a shit about anything in this game's plot. It's not as poorly written as Colors and Generations, but it's still so boring and lackluster. And it still doesn't completely fix the problems of Colors and Generations, since all the previously established characters' personalities are still so out of order. Where am I supposed to find enjoyment from this story? The comedy's just not my cup of tea. I mean, they do the voice chip gags again. I'm sure the 6-year-olds will get a laugh out of that one. Okay, there is this one scene with Zomom and Sonic, and the dialogue here did get a decent chuckle out of me, despite the lackluster English voice acting.
One word of helpful advice: diet and exercise.
Diet? 3 words! I think I'll have you for dessert!
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was alright. And that was the only actual cutscene in this game that I kinda liked. Good job, Pontac and Graf. Okay, some of you are probably wondering this, but is the game's writing any better in Japanese? Yes, but not by much. Much like what happened with Sonic Colors, Ken Pontac and Warren Graf wrote Sonic Lost World's original English script, and that script was translated and rewritten by a Japanese screenwriter named Harumasa Nakajima. Much like what Yasushi Otaki did for Colors' script, Nakajima tried his best to decrapify the hack English script for Japanese audiences. While I did find more enjoyment from the Japanese writing and voice acting, I still found the story to be pretty... I'm still grateful that in Japanese the script is less cringy, everything's more straightforward, the dialogue feels more natural, more than just one scene got a laugh out of me, and, of course, hearing the Japanese voice actors from Adventure 1 still voicing these characters is a huge plus. Junichi-san's Sonic voice is just wonderful and charming. It's so great to see him continue to voice his character for the past, 16 years since Adventure 1? And his Sonic voice still sounds the exact same as it did in 1998, and that's pretty damn impressive. Same goes for Amy and Knuckles' voice actors, Nabukashi Kana and Teiko Kawada, who have also been here since Adventure 1, and it's pretty awesome to still hear them voicing these characters. Though on a sad note, this ended up being the last Sonic game to use Eggman's original Japanese voice actor, Chikao Otsuka, who unfortunately passed away from heart failure in January 2015. Wait, January 2015? That's exactly 10 years after Dean Bristow passed away as well. What the heck? But wait, not only did they die 10 years apart, but they both died on January 15th! What? They both died the same fucking day, just 10 fucking years apart! What the fuck? Still, Otsuka gave Eggman a great voice. He offered as much elegance and charm as Dean Bristow also had. May both of these talented actors rest in peace, and I wish luck to whoever takes over the role of Eggman's Japanese voice in future games. I even like the Japanese voices for the Deadly Six. They're way more energetic and fun to listen to than the English voices. Seriously, all those actors just came off sounding so bland in comparison. Again, I'm grateful that the game's writing and cutscenes are improved in Japanese, but like I said, it's also not that much of an improvement. The Japanese script still kinda suffers from a lot of stupid scenes, mainly Tails' moody moment and... this scene. God, even in Japanese that line sucks. This is one of the worst moments Sonic has ever had. First off, really? You're worried about Tails' safety because he's being turned into a robot? Here's an idea. Stop standing around to bitch about it and go fucking save him! You're Sonic the flippin' Hedgehog! You're supposed to feel the thrill of an adventure! One of your acquaintances is in danger, so go save him! Not stand around bitching about it, you fucking crybaby.
Oh, you're gonna tell us to a robot, what am I gonna do?
Fuck off, just fuck off. Fuck you, Pontac and Graph, you hack pricks. This is such a terrible and out of character line. Why do people praise the writing in this game again? Whatever, take it away, Steven.
Are you kidding me? Oh, it's so good!
Okay, look. If you found likable aspects about the writing in this game, even in English, then cool. More power to you. I'm glad that you found enjoyment from the writing here. For me, there was just nothing here. I liked the improved Japanese writing, but it still didn't get rid of all the issues I had with the story. Sonic Lost World's plot just showcases the world for Sonic that I'm just not a fan of. It just feels like another generic video game plot that just happens to start a cast of Sonic characters. Nothing here screamed Sonic to me. It was kinda depressing to watch. Pontac and Graph have gotta go. I put the blame completely on them, and also for Sega for hiring such hack writers, and writers who don't even understand the source material they're supposed to be writing for. With all the piss poor management going on for the past 10 to 14 years, I feel like the best possible outcome for Sonic games, in terms of plot and voice acting, would be if Sega just went out of business and the Sonic IP went to a major and more successful gaming company like Nintendo or something. That's a harsh thing to say, but clearly Sega doesn't give a shit. I'd give anything to make Sonic stories just as good and or entertaining as they used to be.
Also, for some really weird reason, you don't have an option to rewatch the cutscenes. I would be complaining about it, but I don't like this game's story. I mean, this did get in the way of me recording and editing footage, so I had to download the English cutscenes from someone else. So thank you to Halil Awesome for the English cutscenes. They didn't come with subtitles, but who cares?
So the story for this game just wasn't my thing. But there's another aspect about this game that thankfully rescues it from being complete trash. Which aspect? Well, the gameplay! What? This game sucks! IGN gave it 5.8! It must be shit! Do you always follow what the common opinion is? To be honest, you're missing out. Well, as seen from the trailers, Sonic Lost World clearly introduced a brand new gameplay style. Gone is the boost to win formula. For now. For Lost World, Sonic Team decided to be experimental and whipped up something new. Starting off, the first returning move is the homing attack, obviously, but it got tweaked a bit for this game, for the worst-ish. When Sonic approaches an enemy, his homing reticule pops up, but it'll also pop up on more than one enemy. If it's targeting onto more than one enemy, then you'll have to only press the jump button twice. Then Sonic will fly towards each badnik he was targeting on. Gone are the days of mashing the jump button several times to kill a line of badniks. Now the game plays itself for you to kill all the badniks with just one button press. I'm not the biggest fan of this. It sorta makes the homing attack feel automated, and a bit annoying to use at points. Though there's a separate button you could press for kicking, which can only home Sonic into one enemy and cause him to kick another badnik at other enemies, or to stun them so that Sonic could kill them more easily. The kick is an alright move that I usually alternate between using with the homing attack pretty frequently. Another move that we get is this bounce attack that's pretty similar to the bounce bracelet from Sonic Adventure 2. In Lost World you can only bounce 3 times, but it's a pretty fun move. The most major returning moveset is the Spin Dash! Hell yeah! You can use the Spin Dash by pressing the left trigger or ZL for the Wii U. The Spin Dash works pretty decently. I wouldn't say it's the best Spin Dash ever, that still goes to Adventure 2, and that's mainly because Adventure 2's Spin Dash felt more natural, if you could call it that. Lost World Spin Dash is good for killing enemies, but I wouldn't say it controls that greatly in 3D areas. There are these tacked on 2D segments, I'll bitch about that later, but I will admit the Spin Dash does work pretty dang well in these areas. It isn't as perfect like it was in previous games, but I am pretty happy to see modern Sonic use the Spin Dash again. Before I can move on, one small detail they kinda screwed up with the Spin Dash is its animation. I'm not the first to point this out, but if you haven't noticed, well, in the classic and even in the adventure games, and Generations, when Sonic charged the Spin Dash, he would be pointing in the direction he would roll. Then when getting shot forward, he would switch back to regular ball mode. In Sonic Lost World, however, they sorta mixed up the ball modes, so now when the Spin Dash is revving up, Sonic is a fully round ball. Then when he gets shot forward, his ball mode is curved. So yeah, they kinda messed up that detail. This isn't that big a deal, but it was also a pretty simple and easy detail to get right in the previous games, and it's so weird to see them get it confused in Lost World. Moving on, the main gimmick for this gameplay style is the brand new parkour system. When holding the right trigger /ZR, you can pick up some speed and you can use this to jump onto walls, which causes Sonic to run on them for a little while. He can also spin dash on the walls to keep him up for a little longer. The parkour system, while not the most polished thing ever, is a nice addition. You can only seem to activate it whenever you're holding the right trigger, so it's not as unfunctional as I'm sure so many reviewers have made it seem like. Then again, the original release of Sonic Lost World was not the best thing ever. Tons of reviewers at launch had a miserable experience with this game and found the parkour system to be very non-functional. But about a week after those early reviews came out, Sonic Team sent out a few patches to make the game play a little easier, which kinda made every early review of Sonic Lost World become outdated and unreliable. Well, it seems like being late to the party actually paid off. However, the parkour system also showcases the one thing that I don't actually like that much about the Lost World's gameplay style. Not only does holding down the right trigger /ZR activate the parkour system, but it also, get this, lets Sonic run. Yeah, a run button in a Sonic game. A feature that not even a single classic Sonic game needed. Really? Why does this game need a run button? This is so pointless, and I'm not just saying this because this is a Sonic game, but, well, in 1996, Nintendo released Super Mario 64, which revolutionized the world of 3D platforming. It also helped introduce a brand new feature to the world of video games. A joystick. You slightly tilt it and Mario could walk. You push it down all the way and Mario can run. No run button needed. This just makes Sonic Lost World having a run button seem really pointless. Technically not counting the boost to win gameplay, this is the first game in the series to use a run button, and it's so clear to see why we never needed one to begin with. It's pointless.
Come on, why do we need a run button? You don't see a recent Mario game using run buttons?
Oh wait. One of the coolest things about Sonic was that he didn't need a run button. Unlike Super Mario, Sonic would just naturally run quick. Some fans actually say the inclusion of a run button actually helps newcomers with being able to control Sonic a little easier. But the adventure games got the controls right, and those games didn't need a run button. Look, the run button does work well, but like I said, there's no reason for it to be here. It kinda makes the game come off as just another regular platformer. You know, if it didn't already have those previous movesets. While we're at it, let's discuss the levels and level design. And Sonic Lost World's levels are incredibly diverse and unique. We've got grass level, desert level, tropical level, snow level, forest level, sky level, and lava level. Yeah. Sonic Lost World's level themes seem to have taken a more traditional way of making the levels look graphically. I mean, I am going to compliment Sonic Lost World's graphics. They don't surpass Unleashed, like, at all, but I will commend it for at least making the game look pretty. It's nice to have graphics on a console game that aren't watered down and kinda dull. In fact, this game is apparently using the Hedgehog engine, but it's probably used at its worst in this game. Don't get me wrong, the levels are still very colorful and nice, but I still kinda miss the dynamic lighting systems from Unleashed. That made every level look fantastic. If there is one thing Lost World has over Unleashed in terms of graphics, is the game's performance. This game is constantly running at a smooth 60 frames a second, and that seriously benefits the levels in so many ways. There's such a huge burst of colors everywhere you go. It would be easy to say that this game would fit better with Classic Sonic's model, but I disagree because I still think Classic Sonic looks butt ugly in 3D. Yes, the levels look more traditional and are pretty reminiscent of the Genesis games, especially Sonic 1, 2, and CD, but oddly enough, I don't mind seeing modern Sonic run around in these levels, and I don't really know why. I guess I wouldn't say they put modern Sonic in classic levels like they did in Generations, but it's more just an odd coincidence that this Lost Hex is home to worlds that look exactly like the Genesis games. So seeing modern Sonic run around in them isn't too alien for me. Look, I'm more accepting to this game's world building more than the writers were, okay? I give credit where credit is due, and if you're gonna hate on this game's levels for being boring or unoriginal, then whatever, just blame the Lost Hex and hope we never come back here again. I mean, it's not like the game brought back older levels with the same names and all, but I'd say it's more that these levels were inspired by the Genesis games, but with different titles. It is insanely easy to label Windy Hill or Skyroad as another Green Hill Zone, again, but these levels don't really look like Green Hill Zone. They look like Emerald Hill Zone. The checkerboard patterns are closer to Emerald Hill than Green Hill. You idiots. You claim to know Sonic games? Remember to do your research before nitpicking and get out of my face. I like the way Sonic Lost World looks, but I do agree that I kinda wish this game had more original looking levels. But hey, at least it looks really good. This is probably the best looking Nintendo exclusively made Sonic game. This definitely had a bigger advantage than Colors since Lost World was made for the Wii U, with the only noticeable off thing being the pop-in, and no, this isn't the only Wii U game with bad draw distance, so hold on to your Sonic was never good troll comments. Then there are the level layouts, which are pretty interesting? They're definitely the most experimental thing in this game apart from the parkour system. A lot of these levels are structured on these gravity-defying pipeline structures with the occasional planet-shaped areas where you can run around and kill badniks in order to progress through the levels. Yes, it's really easy to label this game as a Mario Galaxy ripoff, but even if that was true, then so what? Did people forget that the whole point of Sonic's existence was to compete with Mario, thus using ideas from their competitors' own games? The game was co-developed by Nintendo themselves, so I don't really see where all the Mario Galaxy complaints are standing on. Yes, it looks like Mario Galaxy, but does that mean the level designs are all bad? If yes, then does that also mean that Mario Galaxy's level designs are also bad? Yeah, you see how complaints can really backfire? Oftentimes, I'd even say that I prefer the level design in this game over Mario Galaxy. Yep, I'm being serious. I feel like there's a bit more to do here. It feels way more open-ended than previous games, especially in Desert Ruins Zone 1. Look at all the open space in this level. This is easily one of my favorite levels in a 3D Sonic game because they're so wide open. Plus, with this game being developed on the Wii U, we have 2 analog sticks to work with, which means no camera control. You win this round, Super Mario. This is so confusing. Why isn't there any camera control? This makes 3 games since Unleashed where we couldn't move the camera. This makes no sense. But I don't think camera control is completely important for Sonic Lost World to have. I mean, with all the levels being shaped like pipes or spears, you're usually given a good enough view to see where you're going. So while the lack of camera control does kinda suck, it's not entirely needed thanks to the easy to maneuver level designs. Still, I would have at least liked the fixed camera system from Sonic Unleashed to come back. You know, the one where it was auto-adjusted, but you could still move it around so that you could get a better look at your surroundings.
The camera that can be a real fickle fuck at times. Seriously, this thing can't make up its mind. Sometimes you can control it manually, the other times you can only shift it left or right like some sort of shaky cam. I don't get it.
Shut up, Johnny! However, Sonic Lost World isn't just about 3D platforming and exploring. Occasionally, there are 2D sections or full 2D levels. And I just don't care for them. They're not horribly designed, but they just don't have as much depth put into them as the 3D areas. Some of these sections can be fun, but a few of the later levels can be a little more difficult. But I'll talk about that later. Another thing is that this game likes to introduce things. And by things, I mean gameplay gimmicks. Throughout the game, you'll come across a few odd inclusions. There are these small areas and levels that you can reach via these golden cannons. These will send you to a sort of Mach speed zone where Sonic is constantly running on the ground to collect rings and dodge obstacles. Before you have a hernia, no, for the love of Christ, these areas aren't anywhere near as bad as the one from Sonic 06. First off, Sonic controls really well in these sections, and he can actually change direction in midair, which is very useful. One small detail that I really like about these sections is how when Sonic runs by a set of rings, they gravitate towards him as if he has an electric shield. It's pretty satisfying to look at. These type of mock sections are also the center focus in Desert Ruins Act 2, where throughout the whole level, Sonic is constantly running without any way to stop. It's odd, but like I said before, he does control super well in these sections, so don't panic. But this isn't the end of the gimmicks. In Tropical Coast, you can go inside and roll around in these giant badniks until they blow up. There are also these fruit sections where you have to bring an apple or watermelon to a fan so that it can create a pathway for you, which visually looks really pretty. There's also a level in Frozen Factory, the snow level, where at the very start of the level, Sonic spin dashes into a snowball, and you have to navigate through all the level layouts as a snowball. Okay then. Then there are these 2 underwater grinding levels. One in Tropical Coast and one in Lava Mountain. Why is there a water level in the lava area? Fuck! Jesus Christ! Shit! What the fuck? Fuck! Yeah, these 2 levels are kinda difficult. While the one in Tropical Coast is a fun challenge, the one in Lava Mountain kicks you in the nuts and pushes you down the stairs! Jesus fuck. My first playthrough of this level, even on my slow as hell PC, was so infuriating. Somehow though, I'm able to find enjoyment from these grinding levels. I don't know why, I'm just always open to a fun challenge in a video game. These grinding levels actually remind me of those minecart levels from Donkey Kong Country.
I like to think that these levels were inspired by them. The Lava Mountain level can go fuck itself, but I'd still play it again for a fun challenge. I wouldn't call it another Eggman land, but it is a nicely challenging level. While we're still on the topic of gimmicks, this game brings back the Wisps. So happy. Apparently, there's only 7 Wisps in this game. The 3 returning ones are Rocket, Drill, and Hover from Colors. There's also Laser. We also get 4 new Wisps in this game: Eagle, Asteroid, Rhythm, and Bomb. Rocket and Hover control about the same, though Hover can only light dash by using the right analog stick rather than using the buttons, and Rocket is now being used in first person. The Drill is mostly used in 2D, and he's always a situational power-up that's required to use. Drill is also usable in 3D in Tropical Coast's underwater areas, but it controls like total ass. And Laser operates like he did in Colors. You point in whatever direction you want to go and he shoots forward. And I rarely ever used him. Moving on to the new Wisps, the Eagle can fly in the air and collect rings. It can also lunge forward for a bit. It's not very interesting. Same with the rest of the Wisps. Rhythm does nothing exciting. You tap on the touchpad so that it can move to a music note. So pointless. Asteroid jumps around collecting level structures and traveling to hidden areas, and the Bomb Wisp is kinda... I don't remember using it ever. Yeah, I still don't like the Wisps. They still suck and they're not that great. Apparently, the original version of Sonic Lost World actually forced the players to use the gamepad's motion controls, making people have to twist and turn the oversized controller just to use the damn Wisps. Thankfully, there was a patch that gives players the option to use the analog sticks instead of the motion controls. This makes using the Wisps become much easier, but I still don't like them very much. Oh, by the way, there's no story reason given to why the Wisps are in this game. They're just here. Good job. So, Sonic Team, my final opinion on the Wisps are... drop them. I said drop them! Okay, how are the boss fights? They're... easy. What kills most of these bosses is the upgraded homing attack. You can walk onto either boss more than once, which counts as multiple hits, making each boss fight with the Deadly Six last like 10 seconds, or maybe even less. There are some exceptions like the snowball fight with Xena, and a few of Zovak's boss encounters try to change it up a bit, but they're all pretty underwhelming. We don't even get to fight Eggman until the very end, as he serves as the final boss again. But even his boss fight is basically just a copy and paste job of Sonic Colors' final boss. Seriously, they're both just about the same fights, same patterns and all, and it's just as short and underwhelming as it was in Colors. And the overpowered homing attacks make it super short. Oh, and I just want to repeat this, but one of the last boss encounters you have with the Deadly Six is a boss rush, and like I mentioned in the plot summary, after Sonic defeats them, they evaporate into dust, and they're never seen again. Sonic murdered them! So how about the soundtrack? I hear a lot of people saying they can't get into Lost World's music because it's too generic, therefore it's boring. The music is trying to blend in with its surroundings like previous video game soundtracks tried doing, but with Sonic Lost World's more traditional and basic level designs, obviously the soundtrack isn't going to have as much variety as Adventure 1 or even Heroes. Tomoyo Ohtani is once again the sound director, and I do think he did a decent job with Sonic Lost World's soundtrack. I wouldn't really call this his best soundtrack, like nothing will top Sonic Unleashed, but I do think Lost World's soundtrack is slightly better than Sonic Colors. The soundtrack is way more bouncy and elegant, which has actually turned off a lot of people. I think one of the major things that affect the soundtrack may just be the lack of the electric guitar. We hear way more orchestral sounding themes, but I don't necessarily think the lack of the electric guitar ruins the soundtrack. But I can understand why most people found the soundtrack less interesting because of the lacking instrument. But whenever we do get a track in this game using the electric guitar, it sounds pretty freaking awesome. I'd even say the best songs on this soundtrack are the ones using the electric guitar. Still, there are a handful of tracks that I really like in Lost World. The OST also gives the music tracks nicknames, pretty similar to what the adventure game soundtracks did. Unsurprisingly, most of the best tracks in this game are composed by Tomoyo Ohtani. My favorites include Windy Hill Zones 1 and 2, Honeycomb Highway, Sea Bottom Segway, Dragon Dance, and Dr. Eggman Showdown. When I first heard Windy Hill's music, I just always loved it. From the start of the game, it just highlights how bouncy and elegant Lost World's music is going to be. Honeycomb Highway, which plays in Desert Ruin Zone 2, is fast-paced and very electric guitar heavy. This song is at the right level of intense and catchy.
Sea-Bottom Segway, oh my god, it's so peaceful and beautiful. Everything about this track is so perfect. The piano and violins are both used so wonderfully in this song. Strangely enough, this peaceful song plays in both grinding levels, including the one in Lava Mountain. So as frustrated as these levels may make you, the music is there to calm you down a bit. Then there's Dragon Dance, like holy hell, Dragon Dance! Of course, one of the absolute best songs in this soundtrack is the music used in Dr. Eggman's boss fight. I wouldn't say it's as good as Eggman's boss music in Colors, but it's still a fantastic track. The mix of violins and electric guitars, when done right, can sound really, really awesome. Oh my fucking god. I just remembered. I used a few songs from Sonic Lost World soundtrack in my old stop-motion series, That Cooper and Andrew Show.
But Jay, do you even remember the time when we went to that place and that special event that we can't talk about in front of, Satan?
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, no, this final boss music is not a remix of the vocal theme. Why not? Because this game doesn't have a vocal theme. This brings up the next best thing about the soundtrack, the orchestra. Much like Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors, Sonic Lost World used the live orchestra. It wasn't the Tokyo Philharmonic or the Amsterdam Session, but it was a newly jointed orchestra called the Sonic Lost World Session Orchestra. Like previous orchestras, this one composed the game's orchestral and only theme, Wonderworld, not to mention they reorchestrated the results screen, the level map, and all the menus, along with conducting the opening cutscene. Not only that, but this orchestra also composed a few of the boss themes. They specifically composed the Deadly Six theme, which has 3 different versions. It sounds pretty great. Also, I love the inclusion of the banjo of all instruments. It fits extremely well. Like I mentioned before, this game doesn't have a vocal theme. In fact, it's the first main series Sonic game to not have any vocal themes attached to it. All we get for this game is the Wonderworld orchestral theme, which does sound pretty good, but come on, nothing is gonna top the World Adventure theme from Sonic Unleashed. So yeah, Sonic Lost World soundtrack is pretty good stuff. It's not the best Sonic soundtrack ever, but there is enough here to offer a good listen. Seriously, Sea-Bottom Segway and Dragon Dance sound so flippin' good. Try listening to them on your own. So great. Anyways, I guess one of the last things I can mention is this game's difficulty. I already talked about the more gimmicky levels and even the difficult grinding level in Lava Mountain. However, those levels are not the only places where Lost World's difficulty shows its ugly self. The first few zones in the game are a decent challenge, ignoring one aspect I'm about to talk about. But in some of the later zones like Sky Road and especially Lava Mountain, a lot of the 2D sections are designed to where if you mess up on just one jump, then you're gonna die. However, ignoring the completely understandable difficulty of the final levels, there's one aspect that makes almost every level in Sonic Lost World become misery. The red rings. These fucking collectibles are brought back from Sonic Generations and Colors with zero mercy. Usually, you'll come across one that's out in the open that's not a huge hassle to collect. Those red rings are pretty cool. But in some of the later levels, you can't seem to get a red ring without doing some extreme platforming challenge. Oh my god. Most of the red rings in this game are Satan Reborn! It is so bizarre how difficult it could be to collect these stupid rings. If you thought Lost World was somehow pretty easy, that's probably because you were smart and decided to ignore most of the red rings. I'm not the first person to say this, and I'm so sure I'm not going to be the last. But if you're thinking about playing Sonic Lost World, then for your first playthrough, ignore the red rings. Collect the few that are easy to get, but ignore the ones that may seem like a challenge to get, because they are! God, collecting every red ring is so difficult, and you're gonna end up losing so many lives because of them. Apparently, the original version of Sonic Lost World infamously had an issue where when you collect 100 rings, you wouldn't earn an extra life.
which must have made collecting all the red rings become a huge nightmare.
Sonic Lost World is quite the stingy bitch when it comes to extra lives. Not even collecting 100 rings grants you additional lives anymore, making sequences when you're rewarded with a fuckload of rings feel completely unfulfilling.
But what makes it hurt most is that you no longer farm extra lives by collecting rings. Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how many fewer game overs I would have seen if only I could do that? Why did they remove this simple, basic feature that has been a staple of the Sonic series since the beginning? What, would it suddenly make the game too easy?
I actually managed to collect every red ring in Sonic Lost World twice. Once on the PC version, and again on the Wii U version. And to be perfectly honest, it wasn't as big as a hassle to collect them on my second go. I guess this is maybe because I've become so adjusted to Sonic Lost World's controls and level designs, that it just made 100%ing the game become a little easier. Still, if you haven't played Lost World just yet, beware the red rings. Is collecting all of them worth it? Yeah. Kind of. You may have guessed this by now, but collecting every red ring in a zone will earn you a Chaos Emerald. And collecting all the red rings in all 7 zones will get you all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Which once again gives Sonic the ability to turn into Super Sonic in regular levels. So how is Super Sonic in Lost World? Well, thankfully he's not butchered like he was in Generations. He's actually a lot of fun to use in this game. Like previous games, he's invulnerable, much faster, and jumps higher. One detail that I really like is how when he runs by a bunch of rings, they gravitate towards him. It's so satisfying to look at, just like they are in the Mach Speed sections. Strangely enough, Super Sonic can't work in those areas. Weird. Super Sonic is also much faster when parkouring, and he could even spin dash on walls and such. But he doesn't really have the spin dash as a regular move. Instead, pressing the ZL/left trigger will basically make him boost. Seriously, it's the boost from Sonic Unleashed glowing all golden and shit. It works really well, just mind your surroundings so that you don't boost off into a bottomless pit or something. So yeah, Super Sonic was really well done in Lost World. Whether or not he's a good reward for collecting all red rings really depends on how well you did when 100%ing this game, so the results may vary. But you know what? I think Sonic Lost World had the best Super Sonic in any Sonic game. Why? Well, for starters, he's not used as some cheap plot device again. Aside from that, this is my favorite iteration of Super Sonic because of one specific feature that no other version of Super Sonic, not even Sonic 3K, had. Which is... he can easily change back into regular Sonic at any point, as long as you tap the Super Sonic button on the gamepad again. This is all I've been asking for from the Super Sonic power-up since Sonic 2. This feature automatically makes this my favorite version of Super Sonic ever. Plus him feeling super powerful and strong also helps. I'm so glad Sonic Lost World nailed Super Sonic perfectly. In your face, Generations! Like, there's almost nothing wrong with Super Sonic... okay, he does have 2 mouths. Which is something that still has not been patched out in the Wii U version, and not even in the PC version either. Someone seriously messed up here. Aside from Super Sonic, there's a couple more extras in Lost World. If you're looking for more stuff to do, you'll come across an Omochow on the map, who gives you a few objectives and challenges to do in levels. After successfully completing them, you'll be rewarded with an item container, which all goes in this nifty suitcase. Some of these items are the classic power-ups, including the speed shoes, and the music that plays for them is Reach for the Stars from Sonic Colors. There's also the classic invincibility, and when activated, the music that plays is the main theme from... Sonic Heroes? Huh. I mean, this game came out in 2013 and Sonic Heroes debuted in Japan and Europe in 2003, so... maybe this was a 10th anniversary tribute? Callback? The other items you could get in the suitcase are the Wisps. No thanks. You can also get the standard blue shield and even the electric shield, and both shields work just like they should, which is pretty sweet. The supplements in Lost World don't rival the ones from Generations at all, but there's still plenty of extra stuff here for you to enjoy. One thing the Wii U version has over the PC version is DLC. There are 3 downloadable levels.
one based off a Sega IP called Knights, and two based off Nintendo's IPs, Yoshi and Legend of Zelda. I love how open the first area of the Zelda level is, but the lacking camera control kinda brings it down a bit. The Yoshi level's alright. It's only in 2D, which kinda sucks, but for what it is, it's good fun. At least it looks pretty. Both these Nintendo levels are free to download off the eShop, but the Knights DLC was exclusive to the Deadly 6 Bonus Edition, which came with a download code to install the level. This is the version that I have, and supposedly the code was supposed to expire a few years ago, but I still went and put the code and it still worked. Yay me. The Knights DLC is the only downloadable content available on the PC version for very obvious reasons. And the level itself is alright. I never played a single Knights game before, so all of this is sorta confusing, but very pretty for me to look at. I mean, this level is really good for life farming near the end, so there's that. I think that's just about everything in Lost World. Oh wait! The Wii U version has these circuses! These are for collecting more flickies. I didn't even mention those. You see, there are these flicky containers you could bust open in levels, and collecting them can help you unlock more levels. I guess I didn't mention them by this point because I didn't completely notice them. Plus, these circuses aren't in the PC version at all, so I guess I didn't really care? I mean, I was just casually busting open these capsules as I came across them, so the mandatory flicky quota never got in the way for me. So, yeah. When you first play this game, make sure you collect as much flickies as you can. Have fun. Okay, now I think I'm done with Lost World. Ish. So what exactly happened with this game's reception? It's easy to say different strokes and all, but I feel like a lot of fans bailed on this game at launch simply because it tried something new. I was being more open to experimentation, but I think a lot of people were caught off guard by this game. A lot of fans downright hate Lost World's gameplay style. They cited the parkour to be unresponsive and just plain broken. People kept saying Sonic Lost World's controls were garbage, saying that Sonic Team were total idiots or incompetent for attempting to change things up. Everyone just wanted the boosting gameplay to return. By the way, it did unlock Super Sonic. People were just not in favor of this new gameplay style and really feared for the series' future. I would be telling people to not panic and that this gameplay style would improve in later games, but with the advent of Sonic Forces, it seems like it's too late to help people settle down with Lost World's gameplay since Forces is bringing back the boosting gameplay. Still, there was this idea I wanted to do long before I made it this far in the Sonic Marathon, and even long before Sonic Forces got announced. One of my most favorite YouTubers is Nick on Aquamagna. He's a guy who talks about video games, Legos, lots of Bionicle, and of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. You may have seen his Sonic reviews, or maybe not since a lot of them can be rather lengthy. Wait a minute. Nick has always been sort of an inspiration for me, cause he's just a regular dude who decided to start doing game reviews and such. It sort of made me think, hey, if this guy can do this, then so can I. Anyways, there was this one really cool thing Nick did in his SA1 and 2 re-reviews, where he played clips from other Sonic YouTubers highlighting points he wanted to make but didn't so much feel like writing down for himself. So to honor Nick, I'm gonna play a clip from his Sonic Lost World review from almost 4 years ago that's always stuck with me. This may seem really pointless to do right now considering what Sonic Forces is showing so far, but I still think what Nick said about Lost World's gameplay is worth listening to. So, Nick from 4 years ago, take it away.
Instead of expanding upon the daytime stage formula some more, they've whipped up yet another new gameplay style that, while very playable, still clearly has a lot of kinks to work out of it. And I don't mind that one bit. Like it or not, the aftermath of Sonic 06 taught Sonic Team not to stick to any one particular formula for too long, lest they grow complacent and repeat their mistakes and almost kill the franchise. Again, for better or worse, they've created this crazy cycle where they'll develop a gameplay style over 3 to 5 years, make a few games, and then they go right back to the drawing board to reinvent things all over again. And like it or not, no matter what they do, no matter what innovative new gameplay style they come up with, they just never seem capable of getting it right on the first try. To me, this is nothing new. A lot of people are basically asking Sonic Team to go back to the daytime stage formula and feel that Lost World's gameplay is going to kill the franchise. And let me just tell you this now.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Just like I had no idea what I was talking about back in my early days on YouTube. When I first started reviewing Sonic games in 2009, it was pretty much for the sole purpose of shooting down Sonic Unleashed and sharing what I thought made other Sonic games great. I loved Unleashed at first, but grew sick of the daytime stages, and I was really worried that this bizarre new gameplay was just how all Sonic games were going to be from that point on. As this game, and even those that came before it have shown, I was dead wrong all along. What some of you guys are feeling right now is the exact same misplaced fear I had when the daytime stage formula was introduced. It is the same feeling a lot of people had when Sonic jumped from 2D to 3D. And you can bet that by the time the formula changes yet again, and we enter yet another crazy new phase of Sonic's development, this will have grown on people enough for them to be afraid of taking that next step. Again. No, this is not how all Sonic games will play from now on. They'll make a sequel or two and move on to something else. Sonic Team might pick and choose and mix and match certain elements from past games, but nothing stays the same for long anymore. The Sonic formula is constantly changing, with that being the only one true constant. And if you don't like Lost World because it's too different, so what? I don't like Unleashed, but I wrote out that phase of the Sonic franchise and I was rewarded for it, and here we are. At this point, guys, I'm just going along for the ride. You'd best do the same.
Interesting view, huh? So I don't think it's very fair for most people to toss Sonic Lost World's gameplay in the trash, because it's not like later games wouldn't have improved the gameplay over time. Besides, one of my favorite features to do in Sonic Lost World is how when Sonic's crouching, if you hold down the crouch button and move the analog stick, he can do a little roll. Look at him go, it's so adorable. Even Super Sonic can roll, it's so funny. Yeah, I like Sonic Lost World. I still do. I mean, this review has kind of flip-flopped a bit, but I think Sonic Lost World is a pretty dang good game. Not one of my favorite Sonic games ever, but I enjoyed what I played. And if you're a Sonic fan who has somehow managed to avoid playing this game just because a few moody fans and unfair critics gave this game mediocre scores, I'd say give the game a chance. You'll probably be surprised how much enjoyment you could find in the game. Just be cautious about those red rings. The story is still absolute dog shit, but the gameplay more than makes up for it. Even if you're someone who's not a Sonic fan but are looking for a good, challenging platformer, then go pick up Lost World on PC or even Wii U, if you haven't already given yours away just yet. Poor Wii U. I'll give Sonic Lost World a good 6.5 out of 10. And in case you're wondering, yes, I find this game slightly better than Generations. Come at me, bro. Holy shit. This is it. This is the end of my Sonic marathon. About damn time. This was supposed to end in January. I'm so off schedule. I guess before I officially end this marathon, I mentioned a long time ago in my SA1 review that a user named D. Shaney was working on a Dreamcast mod for SADX. I even got him on an episode of Take Two podcast if you want to go listen to that. However, a few months after my Adventure 1 review, a group of fans came out of fucking nowhere with their own and much more complete Dreamcast mod. This didn't just replace the textures, but also restored models and even the lighting system. How? How did they fix the fucking lighting system? Look, it's easy to call Sonic fans a bunch of lifeless, loud dorks, but some of them can be so goddamn cool. So because of that, D. Shaney decided to cancel his mod and even made a video referring to those complete Dreamcast mods, which are now automatically bundled with the latest version of better SADX. So if you get Sonic Adventure DX on Steam, make damn sure you install the better SADX mod. These mods still haven't been able to rig the Dreamcast character models just yet, but at least the fixed lighting makes the SADX models look less shiny. It's awesome playing Windy Valley Beta not just in widescreen, but with the original Dreamcast lighting, it looks so good. So happy this mod exists. And sorry to D. Shaney, at least you tried. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Also, quick shout out to Innocent Christoph Gavin. He invited me on his recent and last Sonic Adventure 2 stream, and he also really liked my Sonic Unleashed review. It was cool. He does reviews and countdowns on Sonic games and other franchises, and his video editing is way more appealing than mine, so go check his stuff out. He managed to make a longer SA1 review than me, so I think that deserves attention too. Anyways, what else is there for Sonic in the future? Well, I can safely say that Sonic Mania looks like it'll be a blast. Graphically, that game looks wonderful, and with talented Sonic fans like Christian Whitehead and Stealth working on it, there is no fucking way it'll be bad. I would say my only complaint for Sonic Mania so far is how it's gonna be bringing back levels from older games. However, I'm glad to see that they're at least taking their own spin on these levels and adding way more details to them, like those Green Hill Caverns and that trash pile and flying battery. More of that, please! Plus, T-Lopes is doing the soundtrack, and that dude is magical. If we don't get an official soundtrack release for this game, then there is going to be hell to pay. Seriously, T-Lopes added a freaking electric guitar to Ice Cap, and it still sounded beautiful. I can't wait to hear his level remixes, and we better get an official soundtrack release.
Sonic Mania presents a world for Sonic that I hope comes true. We get a new classic-style Sonic game in 2D, meanwhile we could get a brand new 3D Sonic game using the modern style. I think it would be a great compromise to have both classic and modern Sonic still be present but in their own games. Have classic for 2D and modern for 3D. That would be so great. It would be the perfect balance for this franchise that I'm looking for. You know, just as long as these two never cross over in another game again. Fuck! So, these two are teaming up again. Fucking hell. Sonic Forces isn't looking to be the greatest thing ever, sadly. I'm sure it'll be okay, but it just kills that opportunity Sonic Team and Sega could have easily taken advantage of. What we've seen of the game so far doesn't really look that great. It's not gonna get released until somewhere near the end of 2017, but I will reluctantly give the game a chance. I just hope things start to look up a bit better in the future. Also, no, the third character isn't fucking Bubsy. Shut up. I'm not very hopeful for Sonic Forces, but Sonic Mania is gonna be so good and I can't wait to play it. But yeah, this is it. This is the end of the marathon. I've reviewed every main series Sonic game, developed by Sonic Team. No, I'm not looking at Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Piss off. Wait until episode 80, you'll get the review by then. I guess to repeat what I said at the end of my Generations review, thank you again for watching my Sonic Marathon. If this is the first review of mine that you're watching, then please try to check out my other videos. This has been Cooper Castille, I can't wait to play Sonic Mania, and I await the migraine Sonic Forces will give me. Thanks for watching.
Shining for you, knows that I adore you. Suddenly our sadness will just slip away, and you'll see what I mean if you follow me in my
This is about to happen. I made it all the way to the end of Eggman Land without dying. So I just have to get the gold ring, and hopefully S rank will be mine. Come on, come on, come on. Fuck you!